Hello, everyone. Today we'll be talking about China influencing the world economy. So, welcome to Sharat Chandra IAS Academy, where your dreams are our mission. This is Yatharth here. We'll be discussing international relations, the supply chain decoupling. We'll understanding this concept. What is the decoupling? And we'll understand the protectionism part, also in reference to India. Then finally see the way forward. There are different and various world leaders. Okay, Asian leaders especially. So we'll see what are their respective roles in the world economy and how is USA. You can see Joe Biden here. So how is US influencing what's going on? Okay, so this is Chinese premier, this is the Chinese president. You can see the Japanese Fumio Kishida as well as the South Korean president. Okay, so we'll be talking about all of them. Now let's begin with the news first. That is China's new beginning with US elite, South Korea as well as Japan. So we need to understand what is the dynamics going on between these countries. So USA and its two allies in Asia. First of all is Japan. So in the end of World War, they were sworn enemies. Now they are friends and allies. Okay, so this is what globalization does to us. Then there is South Korea. So South Korea has its own differences with North Korea, okay, as well as China. And in the second group, there is China. So China is against USA as of now. Okay, and these are friendly to USA, the Japan and South Korea. Now China is trying to have a new beginning with these countries because these are China's immediate neighbors. Okay, now China is also having various different issues with these countries. First of all, there is Taiwan issue. Secondly, there is the issue of China supporting North Korea. The North Korea's nuclear program individually. Okay, USA being against North Korea. And these two countries, Japan as well as South Korea, falling in the middle of all this. So we'll see what dynamics are being played out between all these countries. So China is saying that let's have a new beginning. Okay. So first of all, let's see the China side. So these are the two main heads of China. This is Xi Jinping as well as the Li Qiang. So he is the premier of the State Council of People Republic of China. So he is also known as simply as the premier. And he is the president. The Xi Jinping is the president. So we need to know the difference as well and what is the relation between them. Okay, what is meant by the premier of China and what is meant by the president of China who is in real power? Okay, so what is the premier? So he's the head of government of China. He's the basically formal head of government. Formal head of government. So he essentially works as the president of India, we can say. Okay, Indian president. And he works as the prime minister of India, you can say. So they have their respective roles. Now, one more thing that Li Qiang also belongs to the CPC. Okay, he's not an individual leader. He holds a second or third power position in the CPC itself. And Xi Jinping is the head of the CPC. So who has the real power in hand? It is Xi Jinping. Alright. So the premier is the second highest ranking person in China's political system. He is the first and he is the second formally. But there are more powerful people also in the CPC as well. So what more thing? He is the paramount leader of the CPC, Xi Jinping. Okay, he is the paramount leader. And holds the maximum power. Okay, and now in the party itself, Chinese President Xi Jinping has two notable aides whom he deeply favors. Okay, both of them are from CPC. One is the Tsar Kai Shi. Kai Shi. Okay, this is the we can say defense minister of China. Okay, so these are part. All of these Kai Shi, Li Qiang, they are part of a seven-member committee, which is the internal core committee of the China. And this committee is known as the Politburo Standing Committee. The Politburo Standing Committee. So now let's focus on the news again. What has happened? The developments. So we now know the respective positions of the premier as well as the president. So now we can see why president are out of the is out of the picture because it's a new beginning and the president do not have to go. Okay, so president out of the picture right now and Li Qiang is handling all the business. So what Li Qiang has done, he has met the respective leaders of South Korea as well as Japan for the first time, and they are aiming for a new beginning. And what is the objective of this new beginning? Trade and security dialogues, hampering the trade and security dialogues. Okay, so with whom the meeting has been conducted, the Lee Kwang's meeting, let's see that. So here we see the South Korean president. And what is the name? Yoon Suk Yeol. Okay, Yoon Suk Yeol. And he has been said to be little bit pro-China. Okay, he has been said to be a little bit pro-China. Now let's see about the Japanese president, Japanese prime minister. So his name is Fumio Kishida. Please remember the names. They are very, very important. So his name is Fumio Kishida, and he is not really, really happy with China because of many issues. Okay, so he is a little bit anti-China, but that doesn't matter right here because it is the beginning of the talks. Okay, as it's been done by with the premier. And what is their, let's say, relation with each other? They are happy with each other. They have a friendly relation to each other. Okay, one more thing let us see, just so that we are always clear about their positions and all. So China here we can see it's a big, big country. All right. In this side we can see India and all. The India, Nepal, Bhutan block. India, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh block. And we talked about this block very recently in the BIMSTEC. Okay, these are Laos, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam. Okay. Second thing, what we see is the China here, and we are talking about this as well. Recently, we talked about multiple islands. Okay, between the Taiwan and China issue. Then we talked about the Philippines. Now we are talking about this portion. Okay, the northern portion of China, and this is the border of Russia here. So question already came in prelims from here. This is Japan. Okay, and this is South Korea and North Korea. So these are two, and North Korea is directly connected to China, and South Korea is connected to North Korea. This is the border. Okay, so this is very contentious border, but South Korea has an independent existence in the world politics now, and they are friends and allies with the USA. USA is located this side, please remember. Okay, oftentimes we are seeing map and we are seeing the Japan and China here. Okay, and USA here, so we are thinking they are too far away, but they are, this is actually a circle. Okay, so US is located pretty close to the Japan and all. Okay, now let's see the further extension of this mapping a bit so that we are always clear. So this is Myanmar, Laos, Thailand, Vietnam, as well as Cambodia. Okay, Cambodia is here falling inside, and Laos is in the north side of the Cambodia. Is Thailand here, Vietnam here, Philippines this side, and Indonesia this side, Papua New Guinea this side. Then what is down there? Down there are two, three countries. This is Malaysia and Singapore, you all know. Okay, so down there is Australia as well as New Zealand. New Zealand, we last lecture we talked about New Zealand, about the CubeSats. Okay, Antarctica heat budget and all we talked about. So you can connect and device from there. Okay, now let's come back. So premier is having meeting with South Korea and Japan. Okay, China's premier. So you can see they are making a close geographical block here, far away from USA. USA is close, but not as close as Japan and South Korea, North Korea to China. Okay, but these are also causing some troubles, geopolitical tensions. Okay, now let's see what is their aim, objective. What is the revival? So what revival do they want? Okay, first revival they want is three-party free trade agreement. That is FTA. Free trade agreement between three parties. So who are these three parties? Three parties are Japan, South Korea, and China. So China is essentially wanting that Japan and South Korea do it FTA with China. Okay, so that will be very helpful for the China. It has been installed since 2019. So this is high on their agendas. Second thing, they want to start a comprehensive resumption of cooperation between East Asia's economic powerhouses. So economic cooperation we can say. Okay, so economic cooperation. Now what is the challenges involved? Okay, what is the challenges involved here? That the politics should be separate from economy. Should be separate from economy. And this is very hard to do. Let's say we take the example of India and Pakistan. So politics is not, let's say, separate from economy, because economy is the only way in the global world to effect and control politics. To effect and control politics. Because let's say USA wants to control any country, what they'll do, they'll just put sanctions. And what is the nature of these sanctions? Economic sanctions. Okay, and because of these economic sanctions on China, North Korea, Russia, okay, the China is little bit unhappy in the means of economy, and this is why it's running to the Japan and South Korea now. So economy can not be separate from the politics. This is just an opinion. All right. Second thing is end to protectionism. So what are the challenges here? Basically, if politics is be different from economy, then some challenges come. Okay, how to resolve these challenges we'll talk about. So what is the issues or challenges here? Challenges is the trade issues. Okay, economic issues, geopolitical tensions or politics. Then there are two more issues, that is protectionism and decoupling of supply chains. Decoupling of supply chains. So we need to understand these two concepts, what is meant by the decoupling of supply chain as well as the protectionism. Okay, protectionism somehow related to protection of something. Protection of something. We'll see what this something is. And second thing, when we talk about the decoupling of supply chain, we are seeing two, three things here. One is the supply chain itself. Okay, let's discuss this here. So we are seeing two, three things here. The decoupling of supply chain. So decoupling, we can break down this word. D plus couple. And ing. Okay, so ing we don't have anything to do with. It's a process. That means it's a continuous process. Okay, D means to not do. Then means coupling. What is a couple? Couple means two things together, bound together. Okay, and decoupling means to break these. So let's say when two things were together and they are broken into their individual parts, so this is known as the decoupling. So we are talking about decoupling of the supply chain. So that means supply chain is being broken into individual parts rather than functioning as a chain. Rather than functioning as a chain. So this is going antagonistic to the name itself, the supply chain. Okay, we are doing the decoupling of the supply chain. So we are breaking the chain. So now we can better understand decoupling here. Okay, let's say this is a supplier. Okay, this is the supplier here. Just a second. And this is the means of production. We have the factory here. Okay, this is the finished good stock. So we have a stock, we have a distributor, and we have the marketplace where people are buying. Okay, people are buying. When people are buying, they are creating a pull force. Pull force is a force of demand. And the factory is producing or supplying basically. So when the factory is supplying, it's creating a force of push. So between this push pull forces, this there is the market, operations of the market. Now what we are seeing that this is a decoupling point. Decoupling point means we are dividing the push and the pull. So we are readying a stock here at this point. So stock is disconnected to the push and pull dynamics right now. Stock exists in itself. Okay, so now because of the pull, we can take anything from the stock whenever we need, and the stock will be eventually fulfilled by the supply or the push force. So the the push here is not directly catering to the pull. It is not directly catering to the pull. The pull itself is working on a stock, ready-made stock. Okay, this is known as the decoupling because we have broken the chain of the push pull. Okay, we have just fulfilled the gap with a stock or ready-made stock. This is what Amazon is doing, you can see. So Amazon is raiding stock of everything in its warehouses. Whenever you need it, it will be available to you. Okay, and that so this reduces the volatility in the market. Okay, because they always have a stock. More likely, they always have a stock. So prices are low, and because the prices are low, competitiveness is high. Okay, and this is why the company stays in the market. But this process is not connected to our lecture. Why? I explained to you so that you just remember that this is known as the inventory decoupling. Inventory decoupling. This is very different to the decoupling that we are talking about. So never confuse the both. We are talking about the geographical decoupling. Okay. So we are not talking about the inventory decoupling. It's just for explanation. Okay. So forget this. What we are talking about is the geographic decoupling. So what does geographic decoupling mean? Geographic decoupling mean that Japan and China, let's say Japan and China, or let's say talk about any other country, X country, South Korea. Okay. So if let's say these three countries were to unite and produce something all together, he's saying that I will supply the raw material. Okay, he's saying, Japan is saying that I will just finish or increase the primary production value of the supply material. And China is saying that I will produce the final good. Then these three can work together in a continuum and they will be very happy. Okay, however, what these are doing, Japan is saying that I will not trade with China. Okay, South Korea is saying I will not trade with North Korea. I will make my own goods. I'll make my own goods. Okay, so this is known as decoupling. So what does decoupling mean in this geographical supply chain? That means producing your own good, exporting your own good, making your own policies, not relying on any other countries, not making economic relation with other countries. So what it can do, how let's say geographic decoupling can be obtained. Geographic decoupling can be obtained by two, three. Just a second, I'll explain it here. Okay, because but this is the graph of the protectionism, so we'll just discuss decoupling here anyway, no problem. Okay, so geographic decoupling. So first of all is diversifying the trade partners. Trade partners. So Japan will say that I will not trade with China, I will not trade with the North Korea, I will instead trade with the USA. Okay, so this is geographic decoupling of Japan from the China. Second is investing in domestic production. Okay, Japan will say that I will produce my own goods. I don't even need China and North Korea and so on. Okay. Second thing is developing domestic research and technology. So R&D, research and development. So this is also related to the domestic good production. Okay, that I will do my own research. I will not depend on foreign technologies. Okay, next is substituting domestic resources. Substituting domestic resources. So it is just basically saying that we will not import. We will not import. We'll use whatever is present in our own country, in our own geographic region. This you can see in the India's nuclear program. It is trying to use the thorium now. Okay, next we'll see strengthening regional cooperation. So Japan is making allies with South Korea. So this is also making a smaller bloc and decoupling with China. So China is saying that please let's not do this. Okay, it is harmful for the whole bloc. We can do better if we are together. So this is basically decoupling. Now let's talk about the second thing, that is trade protectionism. Okay, what is protectionism? Protectionism basically shielding. Okay, shielding its own market from the external forces. So same thing basically, but what we can do, just let's understand it, that impose quotas on imported goods. So let's say Tesla. Okay, so Tesla is making nice cars. They want to come to India. But what happens if Tesla comes to India? Everybody will be driving Tesla cars. And the money will be going to USA. India doesn't want this. So what it will do? It will impose quotas on the imported goods. So what it will do, if the Tesla car is coming for 100 rupees, it will be sold in India for 300 rupees. Okay, nobody will purchase this because in 200 rupees India will make better cars. Okay, while the Tesla car was initially actually coming for only 100 rupees. So despite it being cheaper, India will make it very very hard to purchase for the normal consumer. So no matter how low a foreign country sets up the price through subsidies, it cannot ship more goods because of the imposed quotas on imported goods. So high custom tax, high custom duty. Fourth thing is deliberate attempt by country to lower its currency value. So it will say, let's say the rupees value. So $1, as I explained to you earlier also, Earlier values was 80 rupees, let's say. Now it becomes $1 is equal to 100 rupees. So what happens now? 100 rupees goods which is exported from India can be purchased by an American citizen for $1 only. Okay, now American citizen is happy, Indian is also happy. They are saying that no problem, we'll just export more. So we'll switch our economy to export mode instead of the import mode. We'll start exporting instead of importing. Okay, so that will increase the let's say dependence of other countries on us rather than increasing our dependence, sorry, their dependence on our country. Second, we are when the government subsidize local industries, so government is saying you keep producing, do not worry about the cost. Okay, I'll give you free urea, I'll give you free urea, I'll give you free fertilizers, okay, I'll give you free seeds, everything I will just give you, you just keep producing sugar. Okay, WT has objections to this because now if the sugar is produced for let's say 10 rupees in India, a farmer is incurring 10 rupees, they are producing very much sugar, and now India is exporting sugar at low prices in the world market, let's say 50 rupees per kg, and in all of the other countries sugar is being produced for 60 rupees per kg, okay, without subsidies. So it is being sold at 70 rupees per kg. So India has done what? It is subsidizing the production, and that's why increasing the exports. So this is known as protectionism. Okay, so China is also saying that let's not do this also. Please open the economy for everybody. Okay, let other things also come. So let's talk here what is the goals of China right now. Okay, what is the goal of all this meeting and all? So what is the China's concern? So US has been pressurizing both Japan and South Korea to limit exports. So let's talk about the dynamics here by dividing these countries. Like Japan, we'll keep Japan here. Then we'll keep the South Korea here as it has lesser role. Then we'll keep the China here and USA here. Okay, so now let's talk. So US is saying Japan and South Korea do not export, do not export semiconductors to China. Okay, do not export semiconductors to China. Second thing, China's message. So China wanted Japan and South Korea to maintain the existing economic ties and avoid restrictions on trade based on political pressure from the US. So China is saying, China is basically angry on USA. Okay, it is saying that please do not tell my friends or my regional countries to do or not do this. Okay, one more thing, they view themselves as a strong economic unit together. China is saying that if we mix up Japan and South Korea as well as China, then we'll make 25% of the global economy, global GDP. And the decoupling weakens everyone involved. So they are saying that just because we are disconnected, it will make us all weaker and let USA control us. Okay. So interestingly, the recent trilateral summit resulted in agreements to result talks on free trade agreement and maintain cooperation on supply chains. So what these two countries are now wanting, they are saying that okay, we understand. Okay, we'll try not to decouple and we'll try to make agreements so that we can do things together. Okay, instead of being angry with each other and let USA control us. So now let's see what are their goals. That means what do they want to do actually by being together. Okay, so let's talk about these things. What do they want to do by being together? First thing that they want to do is people to people exchange. That means cultural exchange, people to people exchange of 40 million. 40 million by 2030. Okay, that means in next 5 6 years. So that would exchange the culture, tourism, and education. But we must remember the Chinese culture influence has been a lot in other countries. Okay, and that is the main way of them spreading their population as well as culture. Second, they want to do a pandemic preparation. Pandemic preparation because just now the COVID has been lost from our memories. Okay, but it wreaked a havoc when it was there. So they need to do the pandemic preparation and intellectual property protection. That means basically the vaccines and all the healthcare and all. Okay, next thing on North Korea, Yoon and Kishida. So what the Yoon and Kishida, Japan and South Korea, what they are wanting. This is what China is wanting. Okay, so now what Japan is wanting, it is saying that please stop North Korea from doing its nuclear program and launching space satellites. They are using ballistic missile technologies. Okay, so please let's not do this. So let's talk all this in the geopolitical tensions. I made a new thing here. Okay, so basically, let's just write it down here. 1 second. So we are seeing essentially what is the tension between these. So North Korea, let's say Yoon and Kishida. So South Korea as well as Japan. So they are saying that to stop North Korea from using ballistic missile technology. Okay, so that is also banned by USA. Second thing, banned by UNSC, sorry, not USA. Okay, resolutions. So ballistic missile technology is banned by the UNSC resolution, and South Korea as well as Japan is asking North Korea to stop its development. Second thing, North Korea. Let's talk about North Korea. So it's not very happy with Japan and South Korea telling it what to do, and it anywhere launched a rocket. Okay, the rocket failed, but it used this ballistic missile technology or nuclear technology, we can say. Okay. Second thing, that the China, so they called for all parties to practice restraint and prevent further complication of situation on the Korean peninsula. Okay, so China is saying that maintain peace, please. China is saying that maintain peace while we keep doing things in our backyard to trouble other countries, but let not our economic system be harmed by the basic discontent that is present in the South Korea, North Korea, and so on. Okay, so let's just fulfill our goals. So China is being a little bit sly here, no issues. So China is North Korea's only military ally, its largest trade partner. Okay, so China has very good relations with North Korea, and it would not want any discontent in this present section. So what North Korea did also, North Korea said that I'm very very unhappy with China and Japan, and they are saying that they are trying to denuclearize the South Korean or North Korean Korean Peninsula basically, and this joint declaration is grave political provocation that violates its sovereignty. So it's saying that we are on our own, we will do whatever we want. Okay, what USA is wanting, USA has already put sanctions on China and North Korea, and it is not wanting Japan and South Korea to do any business with China further. So this is the geopolitical tensions in this. What is North Korea doing? North Korea, we very very happily just launched a ballistic missile. It is developing its nuclear program, making trade relations with China, military relations with China, and practicing a local dictatorship in its own country. Okay, so this is all against the UNSC resolution and ICSJ, International Court of Justice. Okay, so this is all basically against the current world rule and current world order. But North Korea is anyway doing this. It also launched a missile recently, ballistic missile on Monday, that failed, unfortunately. Unfortunately. Okay, let's talk lastly about the trade relations and what can happen now. Okay, so in trade relations, we just have very minor things here. One thing is that the increasing competitive trade relation between China, South Korea, and Japan. So these has been further tested by the US calls for its allies to shift their supply chain for key products. So USA is saying that please practice decoupling. That means stay away from China and stay with us. Second, just like in the field of semiconductor and all. Second thing that the South Korea is saying that let's build a transparent and predictable trade and supply chain environment. Okay, let's say make our own supply chain and keep China out. Okay, one more thing that not actually keep China out, keep China in. Sorry. Okay, let's keep China in and make a regional block of the supply chain. Let's not practice decoupling. But US is wanting them to decouple. Lastly, they had a free trade agreement negotiation, FTA negotiation in 2019 between all these countries, the South Korea, China, and Japan. So they talked about rejuvenating the RCEP. Okay, what is RCP? Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, and these are all member of the RCEP. So that they are wanting the FTA. So let's see how this ends. That means what agreements are made between these countries, and can China fight versus USA on the local influence between this peninsula, Japan and Korean peninsula. Okay. So let's see who can influence it more in the coming future. But basically, they are talking about the supply chain constraints and everything. Well, now what is the way forward? Way forward will be visible to you, visible to us also. Okay, in the upcoming future. But as per our opinion, what China should do, China should stop its activity in the South China Sea and then build supply chain resilience with Japan and South Korea, and has more economic ambitions than geographical ambitions. Okay, and what's for USA? So USA should also deal, let's say, less politically and more globally in the economic affairs. So that can be a good way forward for everybody. All right, so this was today's lecture. This is Yatharth here signing off. I'll see you in the next lecture. Have a great day ahead. Study well and see you soon.